All right, guys, so this is part 4. Welcome to The Lion, the Witch, and the Narcissist. I am telling the story of, how my brother and this narcissist came to be, how she got into my life and ruined it. Not ruined it, but definitely had a very serious impact on it. So I left off with you guys kind of telling you guys some things that kind of took place that happened that were a little bit weird between me and her. I think she was sensing that I was, not a big fan of her. I really, really tried hard, and I want you guys to understand this. Back with his ex, who he was with for 6 years, my brother always had a tendency to kind of date these, sensitive, kind of, I almost want to say like crybaby, whiny, kind of controlling girls, Not that his ex was a crybaby. I don't want to call her that, but she was very sensitive, And there was a few times early on in their relationship that we had got into things, and, that's just my job as a sister. I got to bust balls a little bit, come on, you're dating my brother. And I would, I would expect my brother to do the same for me, but the roles are kind of reversed in our, dynamic. My brother's older than me, but just we're different. We're very different from one another. I'm much more of an extrovert, social person, and he's kind of a shy, kind of nerdy kind of character there, I guess you could call him. When we were in high school, I don't want to gauge life through high school, but just to give you guys an example, my brother definitely, not that I was popular, because I don't really think I was, but I did know a lot of people. I probably talked to more people in his grade than he did. Put it that way. I'm just trying to explain how, our personalities differ. So anyway, so of course I'm going to bust balls a little bit with his ex. We got into some things, and I always felt like my brother kind of held that against me. And so when he started dating Satan over here, I, was trying really hard not to make it known that I didn't, I just didn't want him thinking that I didn't like her. And even though I really, was not really that fond of her, put it that way. So, I tried very hard, so whatever. She got that sense that I didn't like her, I think. And I think, she was kind of trying to keep me at a distance in a way after a certain amount of time, and especially after they moved in together. So we had, we went out for his birthday. She was late. She didn't talk to us. She had a barbecue at her house, and this was something that, bothered me. Well, I went to one barbecue at their house, me and my husband. Very strange. She was like, my husband and my brother and this other guy, one of my brother's friends was there or something. They're playing one of those backyard games, I don't know, Can Jam or something like that. And, I was just standing there watching them. I've always been a tomboy and hung out with the boys more than the girls, And she's like, go sit up with the girls. Why are you sitting down here? And I'm thinking, why can't I sit down here? Who gives a shit? And I kind of, I don't know, it was very weird. But that was the first barbecue. Second barbecue I went to at her house. Now, this is the, third barbecue I went to. Third barbecue that I went to at her house happened to be, I was trying to make plans with my brother to go out for my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday is at, the end of July. And it was just every, weekend, every day, she has something to go. She has somewhere to go that day. She has something to do that day. And as I was saying in the last piece, she just didn't make such a good first impression. It's almost like she didn't really care what we thought of her, because if that was me, and again, I'm not saying everybody has to be like this, but if it was my, if I started dating somebody and their mother's birthday was coming up and I had, some plans to go out with my girlfriends for drinks, I would probably cancel the plans for my, with my girlfriends. But that's just me. Because I would think the mother-in-law, if I love somebody, I want to make a good impression on their family. But, she didn't seem to really give a shit about that. So it ended up that I just told my brother, you know what, why don't we just do it separately this year? You do your thing. I'll do my, I'm just going to have her over. Because he was 2 weeks after her birthday. I was like, what's the point then, I'm going to celebrate her birthday before her birthday. I had my mom over for, I made her tacos because she always wanted Mexican food. And I didn't even worry about what he did. So this is what was weird. She decides to have a barbecue that weekend that really we should have been going out for my mom's birthday. She just like a random barbecue. There was really no reason for it. And that was his excuse for not being able to go that weekend. And he was supposed to have it Saturday. And, you know, he invited me and my mom, but it was, you know, just a little strange. So, because I'm like, why would she plan a barbecue if it's your mother's birthday? It just doesn't make any sense. And it wasn't like a barbecue for my mom or anything. So that Saturday, they ended up canceling it. I believe it was like Friday night. They ended up canceling it and moving it to Sunday. So that Saturday, he calls me up and he tells me that they're running around and, you know, they said they canceled it for rain. Meanwhile, there was no rain in the forecast. But that Saturday, they're running around, they're getting the food, they're shopping for the drinks. You know, he's telling me that they're all over the place. So he calls me up and asks me if, you know, if I could lend him. I had banquet tables. So he asked me if I could lend him my banquet table. So I tell him yes, you know, and I'm like, you know what? I'll bring them to you. I was in my husband's pickup truck. I figured I'll just throw them in the back, you know, stop at my house. They were at the Walmart by my house, and he told me, you know, they had a lot of shopping to do there, and they were going to be there for like another hour or so. You know, take your time. I told him, no, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. And I got there exactly when I said I was going to get there. I show up, and I'm, you know, driving around the parking lot, and I don't see either one of their cars. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I park, and I sit, and, you know, I have my 6-month-old son with me, and I have these tables all now piled in the back of my truck. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, all right, I don't see them. So I, you know, text my brother. He doesn't answer. And then finally, I call him, and I'm like, well, where are you? Oh, we left. Now, he knew I was coming there. There was no question that he knew I was coming there. And he left, knowing that I was coming there. So I was like, well, you know, I got a little angry. I'm like, why would you leave? Like, what the fuck? You know, I told you I was coming. Why would you leave? So, oh, he's like, I'll be back in 5 minutes, you know? So I'm like, you know, I'm thinking in my head, that's so weird. Why would he leave if he knew I was coming? It's not like I took, you know, crazy amount of time. And if he knew he was going to leave, why didn't he call me and at least say, you know what, I'll come by and pick him up later, you know? He actually tried to pull that shit too. When I finally did get him on the phone, he was like, oh, I'll come pick him up. I'm like, no, I just drove here. I told him I had to go into Walmart too, myself. And now, you know, you're going to leave. I have to leave these tables that somebody could very easily grab, you know, in the back of my pickup truck. I was really fucking pissed. You know, I was annoyed. Not going to lie. So he calls me back. I'm sorry. So, you know, it's August. I mean, it's like almost August. You know, it's hot, really hot that day. It was like in the, you know, upper 80s. And I have my 6-month-old son in the car with me, and he tells me he's going to be back in 5 minutes. 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Half hour later, he shows up, pulls up in her car. Now, they were together. So when I spoke to him earlier, he told him that they had all the shopping to do for the barbecue, which I was thinking in my head, well, if you were really going to have this barbecue on Friday, on Saturday, shouldn't your shopping have been done on like Friday? But whatever. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck? He pulls up in the car by himself in her car, and I'm like, where's Satan? And he's like, all in a huff. He's all pissed off. He's like, just grabs the tables out of my car, you know, puts them in the back of her car, and doesn't even like look at my son, acknowledge his existence, nothing. Mind you, he hadn't really seen my son that much, you know, in the last couple of weeks. So, you know, he's only living with her now for about 2 weeks at this point in time, you know, maybe like 3 weeks at the most. So he grabs it, and he's like all pissed off, and I'm like, where's Satan? And he goes, I dropped her off at, you know, the supermarket. And so she knew I was coming with these tables, right? She made him drive her all the way, like, in the complete opposite direction of where I was. I mean, you couldn't get any further away, you know, all the way on the opposite side of town, pretty much. Drop her off to go food shopping for this party that was supposed to actually be happening that day. And I was like, and then made him come back to get the tables. And I was like, wow, I was fucking pissed. You know, I thought, you know, that was the first time where I think I actually showed a little like towards her. You know, I was like, why would you do that? You know, why would you tell me that it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, that was really fucking rude. You know, I would never do that. If my husband, you know, if I was with my husband and again, first started dating him and, you know, I was in a similar situation, I would be like, wait, isn't your sister coming? Like, let's just wait. I could wait 5 more minutes, you know, call her up, something, you know. I was shocked. I was shocked that she made him drive her all the way across town, you know, and drop her off and then come back and leave me sitting in a parking lot for a half hour with a 6-month-old baby. So that was like something that really bothered me with her. But still, I kept my mouth shut and I never, you know, said anything really about it. After that, you know, I told my mom about it, but didn't really talk about it after that. The next day, though, I was not enthused about going to their barbecue. I was like, yeah. So I showed up late, kind of pulled her card, you know. I took my time. I showed up late. And, you know, that time my mom came and she, like, sat my mom up on the deck with her mother and her mother's cousin. And it's like, she's like, you know, it was weird. It was like, here, the old people sit up there, you know? I don't know. It's just weird the way she groups people together. Like, you know, like me with the girlfriends. I had to hang out with the girlfriends. I couldn't hang out with my husband and my brother and his friend. Very strange. So, you know, it's just weird. So that was like, you know, that party, I didn't really talk to her. I just kind of was like, you know, hung out with my mom. My son was with me. My husband didn't come to that one. So it was just me, my mom, and my son. And, you know, she couldn't be the center of attention. Everybody was like, you know, playing with my son. And, you know, I remember one point we were like laying on a towel or something in the grass and she comes over and nobody's kind of paying attention to her. So she just kind of got up and like stormed off. Very strange behavior. Again, not making you feel too comfortable. When you went to her house, it was just an uncomfortable feeling. I can't explain it. Her house is very sterile and just boring, you know, and you don't feel comfortable. She doesn't make you feel welcome there, you know. So that was like the few things that happened during, you know, the first couple of months of them dating that I felt like were kind of signs to what was going to come. And I'm going to get more into that in my next video. I'm just going to end this one now because I'm trying to keep them down to like 15 minutes a clip, but not working out so good. Sometimes I lose track. So I will talk to you guys in the next one.